about a minute. Whenever Karen says go,
Oh, Vinny actually picks Vinny.
or Vinny.
Good evening, everyone.
Here we go.
Hi. Hi, Ben.
Hi. How are you all? Are we live?
We're live, Vinny.
Okay. I'd like
guys.
to call this meeting of the Board of Education Plant and Planning Committee to order at 6:30 p.m. And it is June 3rd. Do we have a quorum?
We do.
Okay, all righty. Then I'd like to get a motion to accept the minutes of the last meeting, the April 1st, 2021 meeting.
So moved.
Okay, we have a second. Ben, that was your motion, yes?
Yes.
Okay, do I have a second?
Denise will second.
I'm sorry.
Denise
My
was second.
connection is
Oh, okay.
poor, but
Yes,
Denise
Denise.
is second, yes.
All right. Okay, then all those in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
I don't have to do a roll call vote on this, do I?
No.
No, that's fine
No.
for minutes, Vinny, go ahead.
Okay, just double checking. All right, then, all right, we have a report from
Brian Snyder.
from
Snyder Associates.
pardon?
Snyder Associates.
Well, he's putting together a report, Snyder. However, we also have a report that we've received from SLR, Zarger. Did everyone get copies of that report? On
I don't have a
enrollment
copy.
projections and
That's the one that Rebecca went over last meeting.
We
Right.
did that last meeting.
okay.
Yeah, we
Yep.
did.
That's the one I can't find.
So everyone should have a copy of it anyway.
Right.
And if you don't, you can request another copy because we're going to be using that and what Ryan Snyder's company is going to present to us, I guess, in the fall, if I understand correctly. He gave us last time a overview of the feasibility study and what he's going to He's going to look at every school, and he's going to look at the plant, the various functions within the plant, the electrical, etc., heating, ventilation, and provide us with his report in the fall, because he wants to use the summer when there are no students in the schools to bring in the people that he needs to complete the study. And I believe the step after that is going to be for SLR to take that information and compare that to their enrollment projections, etc., to come up with some recommendations. And believe that's how it's going to work. I get any comments or questions or corrections to my interpretation?
No, I think that's where we were at last time.
Yep, that's the thing.
Right.
Yep.
Right. I don't know if any of you had a chance to look at SLR data, but it seemed very comprehensive. It did projections of enrollment, and what I would like to do is to see if we can take that information and working in smaller groups, utilize that to come up with a number of.
Vinny, can I just interrupt you a second?
Sure.
If any of you while you're not speaking, could you go on mute, please? Deal of background.
Ben, I can hear Robin.
Okay. All right. Because there's so much data and it's not information that we can spend a regular plant planning meeting reviewing and discussing and coming up with suggestive outcomes, I think we really should probably break up into smaller groups, take a particular area and focus on it, come back to the entire committee with recommendations as to how to proceed regarding the particular area that your committee or subcommittee is working on. I'd like a little bit of input on that. If you feel that might be a way to proceed, if you have any other ideas as to how to proceed, I'm open to any other ideas.
Vin?
Ben, yes, Ben.
Just a question on that. Is that something we can do before we have the facilities assessment, which is going to occur after the facilities usage which will occur after Brian finishes his assessment? And I know as I look at the agenda, I don't necessarily disagree with what you're talking about, but, looking at whether or not there should be a comment, we should combine the middle schools or the high schools or, school boundaries and whatnot. And until we understand what shape our buildings are in and what they can and can't be utilized for, might this be premature?
I'm not suggesting that we do any of that decision making until we get the report from Snyder and actually the combined report from Snyder and SLR. But all I'm suggesting is, in the meantime, that you indicate an area that you might be interested in and email me what your interest is, and I'll try to put together some subcommittees. And then in the fall, we can utilize that information as far as subcommittees are concerned, and then begin to review the final report from SLR that combines Snyder's data with Auger's data and move on from there. I don't think we can make any kind of informed decision on what we think the configuration of schools or based on population growth. We need more classrooms, less classrooms, et cetera. I don't think we can do any of that. You're right. And I'm not proposing that we do. I'm just proposing that we become prepared so that when all that information is in, we can sort of hit the ground running and begin to provide recommendations. Those recommendations then would be given to the committee. The committee then would have to make some decisions. And then I believe it would have to go to the administration and even possibly to some of the town fathers. We have
There are a few hand raising.
Yeah, there's Janice. You have your hand up.
Alan was before me.
Was before you? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I didn't see Alan down there. But Alan? Go
That's
ahead.
okay. Thank you very much, Denise. I appreciate that. Just one of the things that I want to say, and looking at the information that's in hand now, I'm hoping kind of in an initial reaction and kind of in taking a global approach for the whole district, is there a way to kind of broadcast out that we're in like the initial stages of a growing trend where the populations of the two tracks are kind of separating? Because I think right now there was some overreaction in some of the North End elementary schools to, teachers, quote unquote, losing their jobs. When in actuality, what's happening is that the positions are really more being transferred from one side of town into the other based on the population. And I just think if we can get a good explanation for that out there now, then as that divide grows and there's more and more of this kind of, for lack of a better word, paradigm shift amongst the two tracks, just so that there's a little less kind of knee-jerk reaction to, every time one elementary school loses a fourth grade section or loses a fifth grade section, that we're really not contracting as a district and we're not losing teachers, we're not cutting jobs. It's just the positions are getting transferred from one building to another. So I just wanted to get that out there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Well, let me just kind of say to that, according to the demographic information from SLR, it looks like the Lordship and Honeyspot neighborhoods have a decline in population, and the North End and the center of town have an increase in population. So that could mean that there would be a shift in classrooms to the North End and the center of town, in the South End. But nothing is final until we have an idea of the buildings and the usage of the buildings, until we have a final assessment of the population changes. And I know part of the problem with the study was that COVID was taking place and not all of the children registered in our schools. So we may have an increase in student population. Plus, I know that over the year that we've had COVID, we've had a lot of people move into town from out of state and out of district. So that could change things also. Janice?
Thank you, Vinny. Let me just first, agree with Alan's comment, because I think that lack of communication does create a lot of, chaos and talks, right? Like across, different parts of town. And if we're seeing these trends, coming from, I would say, the superintendent's office, it should be communicated to say, here's the shifts that we're seeing, right? Like publicly, not have it where it's communicated in a way of cuts, but more like a bigger picture, like this is what we're dealing with. This is the kinds of trends we're looking at, and here we're increasing, here we're decreasing. So that communication is necessary, and we need to make it happen, right? Because as this committee moves into the different phases to talk about the reports that we're going to be getting and the analysis that we're going to be reviewing, if that information isn't communicated, then what we're doing, it's kind of in a vacuum and it's not going to connect with the community, and you're going to have people in an uproar, and you don't want another situation like what happened a few years back. Do you know what I mean? So I would just ask that we make it a priority to, synthesize the report that Rebecca shared with us, and connect with Janet and with Dr. Robinson, and make sure that something is put together to summarize what we're seeing. And when you said, Vinny, about the committees, I don't disagree, but at the same time, I want to make sure all of us on this committee is involved in each area. Like, I don't want, somebody to feel like, well, I didn't have an input in this part of it, not just from a voting or a final decision standpoint, but in interpreting the data and the coming up with potential solutions. Like I want us to all be involved in that. Thank you.
I don't disagree with you. Yes, I think everyone on the committee should be involved in all aspects. I'm just trying to find a manageable way of taking quite a bit of data and kind of distilling it down with how it will impact or may impact on the schools and the town. But everyone is open to being in more than one group. But I'm sure each of you has your own area that you're feeling very close to in terms of wanting to influence or wanting to comment on. That's all. If someone else has a different way of doing it, I'm open to the suggestions. And by the way, last time, I believe Ben had suggested that the Rebecca Auger's report be disseminated to other areas of town, to the council, to the mayor, etc. Now, has that been done? Have they received Rebecca Auger's report?
I don't believe so. I don't even think the board members received it. The other board members received it, and we asked that they receive it.
Teresa, has that been sent out?
Not that I'm aware of. We can take care of that tomorrow if that's what everyone wishes.
I think that that's necessary because it's
Yeah.
not something that we're trying to hide from anyone.
No.
I know when the suggestion was made, and I think the committee was in agreement at the last meeting. I thought that was going to happen. I know my wife, who is the chair of the Commission on Aging, was very interested in that portion of the report on residents over the age of 65. And she brought that data to her commission and they reviewed it. It indicated what parts of town the over 65 population mainly lived and so forth. So if other people haven't received it, I think it's something that should be done to show that we are not trying to keep any information from anyone. Yeah, Ben?
Ben.
Question.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, I thought we had made that as part of the April meeting, but I think, if we're gonna send this out, we should send this out. Every board member should have received it by now, since it was a board sponsored event and paid for. But in addition to going to every board member, every council member, and the mayor, I think it should go to every land use commissioner, since this has impact on land use. We should also submit a copy to Mary Dean, so she has it for her use for economic development purposes. And if we haven't already posted it on our website, it should be posted on our website together with the analysis, so that anyone who wants to access it, it's right there on the front page. They can see it, they can get to it, they can read it, and utilize it in ways that are helpful to them. I can see this particular document being tremendously helpful to the realtors in town, to our businessmen and women in town, determining where their markets are going and how they're going to grow and shrink. I think this is a tremendous study, not just for determining where kids are going to go to school and how many kids we're going to have in a classroom, but it's an overall marketing tool for the entire town. So I would, if need be, I'll make a motion so that it's undeniably clear that we're sending it to every elected official of the town. I would send it to our state reps, our state senators, so they all have this information.
Right, we did ask at the last meeting to post it on the website as well, because the community needs to see this, so it's been months now and nothing seemed to be distributed.
And I'll second the motion for you.
If the chairman wants a motion to do that, I'm happy to do that. I think we've made it abundantly clear to the administration what they need to do tomorrow morning.
Yeah, okay, so Ben, that is your motion.
I'll make a motion that it be distributed to every elected official in the town of Stratford, including our state elected officials. That a copy be sent to Mary Dean at the Economic Development Commission, and to the library, where it could be posted into the library as a hard copy, and on our website, along with the analysis that was done. I just drew a blank on his name. I apologize.
Ryan Snyder?
No.
Rebecca
Prada?
No, Dr. Proda.
Oh, okay,
Peter Proda, who did the analysis.
okay.
So both the study and the analysis that was done by Dr. Proda be sent to all elected officials, our economic development officer, our library, and be posted on our website.
Land use
Including-
boards as well.
Yeah, on every elected official in the town of Stratford, both state and municipal.
Karen, you
Information
seconding?
that they could all use.
I'm seconding it.
Okay, any discussion? All right, then, hearing none, I guess I have to take a roll call vote. I'll start with Karen,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Janice,
Yes,
Alan,
Aye.
Pat,
Yes.
who don't I have?
You?
Yeah, the chair votes yes. Is that everyone that's in attendance?
I'm looking.
There's a couple of phone numbers, I don't know.
No, you got them all.
Okay, all right, then it's unanimous.
Also, I would suggest if it hasn't been sent to our incoming superintendent, that it be sent to him as well.
Very
I'll
good point.
second that as well.
So I would assume that's a modified portion of your
Yeah.
motion, and Karen, you
I'll second it.
you seconded it, and I think everyone else is in agreement unless you feel I need to do a roll call vote on that.
No.
No, okay, very good, very good. It is a very detailed piece of information for the town, and it's very informative. So I appreciate your motion there, Ben. And when we receive the architect's facilities assessment, we'll take a look at that, and that should be distributed, possibly not to every one that we're sending this report to, but to councilmen as well as board members, and post that on the website also. So that's, we have to wait for. Our next scheduled meeting is August 5th. Now, I don't know whether we will receive the architect's feasibility study by then, but hopefully we will, and we can review it at that time. In the meantime, I still would appreciate an email or text from all of you indicating the area you're most interested in pursuing. Not that all the other areas aren't important. I just need a way to make this manageable. And again, before I end on that, if anyone has a better idea how to go about it, I'm open to suggestions. Yes, Karen.
Vinny, can you let the architect know when our next meeting is and that we're very hopeful? that we'll have the information by then? Because sooner is better than later.
Yes, that can be done.
Thank
That can be
you.
done, yeah.
Or at least whatever information they've developed up to that point. I understand they may be still doing analysis through August.
All right, no, that can be done.
Yeah, whatever
We
we
can
can
ask
do.
them to submit what they've done to date as of our next meeting. And then we may even want to have a special meeting once the report is complete. So we'll have to see how that goes. So it is a little iffy, but I believe we're getting there. And I believe this is the only way to go. Makes a lot of sense. Let me. I guess we can come down to an update from the superintendent, Dr. Robinson, the status of the schools as far as pandemic is concerned.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. The, as you know, and you've heard us say before, we are a little uncertain as what we have in the way of students, because many students, first of all, we've seen it in town. We have many students who are registered in other districts, have moved into the district, and have continued their distance learning with their old district. So we are anticipating that they will begin registering in August. We don't know how many those are, but we do know of specific examples of students that are doing that. Likewise, we have students who we believe have moved, because there are houses that have been purchased and sold, who are continuing distance learning with us and have not notified us that they have left. So I think the dust will settle as we come into the fall semester. So we'll see what shakes down in terms of our enrollment. We know we have had a lot of new registrants this year, but I think there are probably some others. We also do not know how many parents chose to not put their kindergartners in school this year because of the COVID, and either put them in small private kindergarten programs or held them out, so they'll be registering with us in August also. So so we're working with the information we have now, but there will be some surprises along the way. I want to talk about the issue around the shifting of teacher positions. At the elementary level, this happens every year. Every year, we have two second grade classes that's moving to the third grade. The third grade currently has 3, but we don't need that third teacher. So every year we are nimble and we move teachers according to where they're needed. This year, there were more that hit one particular school. Those teachers put word out, the people put word out, and the agitation that took place was definitely not merited. And the rumors of high class sizes are not true. If they would have their wishes that everybody be where they are, we would be telling the town about how we would have classes of 6. So you need to understand, we do this every year. It's just noisy this year. So please understand that it's how we are responsible for the taxpayers' dollars in town, and to still guarantee that we're doing the most responsible thing for class sizes. I have always protected class sizes here, and maybe people are a little spoiled with that, but I have never had the class sizes soar above a certain number, depending on the grade level. So please, when you hear these things, also take a look on our website, take a look at our enrollment, and see that everything is pretty equal across the board. I will say that Nichols probably has 1 or 2 students in some certain grade levels more than others, but they're doing a darn good job, and it has not affected the education those kids are getting there. So I just want to make it clear that it was created as a issue, but it's something we do every year. We shift the teachers to where they're needed.
Very good. Yes, I think people should realize that. And I don't know why, if they have children in the schools for a number of years, they wouldn't have been aware of it. But
Mhm.
whatever, be that
Yeah.
as it may. Dr. Robinson, if you would just attach a paragraph or two to the report, the SLR report, to
Sure.
explain to whomever is going to receive it the
Mhm.
background of the report, so it just doesn't show up and people wonder, well, what is this?
Certainly.
I'd
Certainly.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. No problem.
Any questions? Any other business?
This is Alan. I just wanted to
Yes,
kind
sir.
of follow up a little bit to to what Janet was saying. I mean, I think myself and obviously I think pretty much everyone on this call kind of understands what happens on a year-over-year basis. And to be honest with you, I would be disappointed if ABC school said, "Oh, don't worry about it. Take Mrs. Jones, take Mr. Smith, or whatever. We don't care." So I think it's a healthy thing that our schools are in the business of protecting their staff and protecting their favorite teachers. And one of my frustrations and concerns with this report is that the information was so current and so accurate, and I just think would have been so useful as as a means of having it as a discussion item. Obviously, I was able to tell some people at up at the Eli Whitney neighborhood, which is very close to where I live, kind of what had happened with this population study, and that it really is an update of the study we did 7-8 years ago for the high school. So I just think, again, to kind of what Janice and I were touching on before, just getting the communication out there, and, completely agree with you, getting a paragraph or two of analysis and the explanation will just help, anyone who's engaged and involved, elected or not, in being able to explain to, not just the general public, but also concerned parents at the individual buildings, be able to explain to them what's going on, and that it's not an out-of-the-air conversation. We have a very current, as accurate as possible document with which we can have these discussions. So thank you for your time, Vinny. Appreciate it.
Okay, and Alan, if there was a study done for the high school, Stratford High School, similar to this, could you submit that, or to me at least, to look at? I'd be interested, and possibly other members of the committee, just as additional background information.
Sure. I believe it currently resides somewhere on the Board of Education website.
Yes.
Janet might be able to follow up on that, but yeah, we can definitely get that location and or the report out to everyone on this subcommittee.
Yes,
Okay.
it had to be done for the for Stratford High School. That's required by the state anytime you do any building, and so we do have it, and it is posted.
So, well, I'd appreciate just an email maybe to the committee members with a link so that we don't have to go searching.
You got it.
Okay, thank you. Karen, you have a question?
Just a comment. This year, because of the pandemic, we did not have PTA council. And PTA council is a way of disseminating information to the schools to avoid hysteria if it's done appropriately. And it would behoove us to encourage them to find a way to put that back together, even if it's virtual. Because it would be helpful to be able to disseminate that information to them. I mean, board is supposed to have a representative on that, and can convey these things in a way that is understandable to the parents, and answers their questions. So I'm just adding that because it's another layer of communication and a way to get feedback from parents in the system. Thank you.
Is that PTA council in existence through COVID?
It has not been active during COVID. No.
Okay.
And that's why I'm trying to encourage somebody putting it back together, because clearly there's been issues where information could have been disseminated quickly and appropriately and efficiently, and it just hasn't been because they're not active. And it's a town-wide, it's from every school, and they have memberships, I mean, it's a way to get the information out, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Anyone else? Possibly with, yes, Ben.
You're muted. You're muted, Ben.
Ben, you're muted.
Question to Janet. What is the timetable for, I guess, meetings of this type or other types for the board to be in person?
Good question, Ben. I was going to ask that question.
The majority of the districts are going through June with plans to hopefully be live with their first meeting in the fall, which for us would be August.
Okay.
So we may be looking forward to an August 5th in-person meeting for this committee? Or are you talking about the board meeting in August?
Well, I was talking about the board meeting, but you certainly can make a determination with the comfort level of the people on the committee that you want to have a live meeting in August. That's up to you, because this the governor's order expires at the end of June.
Okay. Well, then I would put it up to the group right now. Ben, do you want to make a motion that we meet live?
Well,
for the August?
I think we got to. I think if we're in I would have no problem meeting live in August, given where we are at the beginning of June. But I think we should probably, at the very least, offer the opportunity, if there's someone who is not comfortable at that point, to be able to log in, via GoToMeeting or Zoom or whatever we're going to be using. But I think we can find spaces. I think, as Alan just indicated, if we have to, we can go over to Stratford High School. They have a large room if we need to still kind of be a little bit distant. But I think we have a much better ability of accomplishing the things we want to do and need to do if we are in person going forward.
I agree with you. And there's no reason why, if you meet in person, you can't wear a mask.
Yep.
Again, I will mention that today my wife had a meeting of her book group at the senior center that she runs. First time they had it live in the Perry House in a large room, and everyone wore a mask, but they were live in person. So.
Yep. I mean, if we can have juries sitting as of the beginning of the month, sitting next to each other or within the same courtroom with a bunch of other people, I think we can probably sit in an auditorium and do this.
Yeah, or the cafeteria at the high school is a large enough.
There's a nice lecture hall that's down at the other end of the school, the building. That might be what Alan was referring to. That it allows for spreading out, and it has good acoustics. But the cafeteria has very poor sound. Yeah. So the lecture hall is something that you might want to look at.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Do we have to take a vote, or is everyone in agreement? We'll pursue that for August? Okay, then let's pursue that for the August meeting. This lecture hall, Stratford High School, but we will send out a notice along with an agenda for that meeting. And if you want, we don't have to pursue, I don't need you to send me an email as to what you'll be interested in, what areas we can do that in person in August. Okay? All right, very good. Very good. Is there
Sounds
any
good.
other business? No?
Just if I
Hearing
could,
none? Yeah, go ahead.
Got it.
Dan?
Since the next time we'll be meeting will be in August, and Janet won't be with us in August, I want to just say thank you to Janet
Yes.
for all that she's done during my time on not only this committee, but with the Finance Committee, and her, not only her professionalism when I've dealt with her, but also her friendship. And I wish her just tremendous success and fun as she moves forward from our little district.
Thank you, Ben. I
No,
appreciate it.
I second that, Ben. Very good.
I third that, I echo it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Been a pleasure working with you.
Same here.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, thank you, Janet.
thank you. I'm gonna miss you.
Yes, and we'll miss you also.
Mhm.
Yes.
With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second,
Second,
Karen.
Karen? Yes. Okay, then all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
All right, then, very good. Have a great
Thank
summer and
You too.
healthy
Enjoy.
summer. Yeah.
Take care.
Thanks. Good
Bye
night.
now.
Have a good night,
Bye.
everyone.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Good night, all.